Hey everybody, we are coast to coast, east, north, west, south, up, down, in circles. We're going to shoot that signal from Detroit all the way over to California. Back to California, we're going to shoot that signal over to Australia, back up to Asia, Middle East, and then once again, that's going to cover the entire continent of Asia, Russia, Europe, back over again to England. That signal then is going to get beamed all the way over to Detroit, Michigan. And from there, we're going to go to Saginaw Valley. Now, guys, we get a chance to listen in on a conversation and cut it in. Vonnie KIllmer, the head women's basketball coach. She's phenomenal. She's got a great background, a great passion. You're going to enjoy the conversation with her. We're going to pick up where we left off. Thanks a lot, y'all. This is Coach Killmer from Saginaw Valley State University. We got involved in interviewing a lot more women's professionals in this arena because of my daughter. I went out looking for coaches and programs because she asked me specifically, Dad, what's out there? And I started looking around, and I noticed there was so many quality programs, but nobody was talking about them. And I know that right now they're starting slowly to hedge it where some of the big networks are talking about it more. But are you seeing at your levels that there's a wave of change happening right now in the media?
Than it is. I'm grateful just for the start. But I think we need more media exposure than we're getting, especially at the D2 level.
Yeah, you're in one of the best conferences in the entire country, as far as Division II goes, but as far as sports go, and very little it comes down the pipeline. It just seems like there's so many good stories out there, and we're going to find out what are the good stories going on right now with your program and some of the leadership you have.
Well, we're still in somewhat of a rebuilding phase. We're in our fourth season here right now, and we've improved every year. And this year we're looking to do the same thing, and I think that's probably the biggest storyline for us is just we're trying to get back. In the 80s, Saginaw Valley was a powerhouse in women's basketball. Late 70s, early 80s, and on even through the 80s, and it's been a long time, and we're just trying to get back to where we were. We're trying to make a statement. We're trying to push for the top of the conference. I think we've been at the bottom, so to speak, and we're headed for the middle now. And in another year or two, we really want to be at the top of the conference, and that's really what we're all about right now. Just finding kids that really want to work hard and do things the way we're trying to do them, and play the style of ball we want to play. And there's a lot of kids out there and a lot of kids want to come to Division II schools, and I'm not saying we can't find kids, but we're still looking for more, for kids that are good enough to play at this level, that want to do things and want to play Division II basketball. Some of our struggle at this level really stems from most of these kids want to go play Division I, which, nobody begrudges them that, but there's a lot of kids that end up sitting on benches at that level and never get to play, where they could be a integral part of what we're doing at this level. They could be stars at this level instead of sitting on a bench somewhere and not getting the opportunity to play. So, that's kind of where we're at right now. We're really trying to talk kids into staying home around here. We have a lot of kids that come out of Saginaw the last few years that go Division I. We're just trying to get a few of them to see what we have to offer and the benefits of Division II and the positive things that could happen for them if they stayed here and played Division II basketball.
Yeah, I think you see the way, like, for example, it always seems like the guys get it for the guys in their program because they're so wanting that me first and that setup. And I'm not trying to bash the guys. I just know that how guys sports is.
Yeah.
And I know it's team oriented, but it is a lot more focused where people are focusing more of the big time. And that change has slowly crept in now because of the changes at NCAA where, you have, Johnny or Joe that can play anywhere, and the coach comes to us from a Division II or even 1AA and says, well, you can be a superstar in my squad, you can sit on the bench in their squad. And the reality is years ago, Michigan and Notre Dame were able to bench superstars and use them when they wanted to, and that's not the case anymore. They're now trickling down, and I think you're going to see that in the women's programs now where people are seeing the opportunity. Do you want your daughter to play, and have a level of enjoyment in college where she's playing, participating in a squad, or do you want her benched? And I think a lot of us parents realize, who've played and been on the other side where, what, Michigan's Michigan, I get it, but you know what? My daughter can get a great education playing in Saginaw Valley. I want her to play basketball all 4 years so she can have a level of enjoyment and actually compete for a championship.
Right. And you know what? And then there are those kids that just, there might be a kid that just really wants to go to Michigan State and is just wants to be on that basketball team and doesn't care if they sit. and that's great too. If the kid, if that's the decision that the student athlete makes, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't think that that's very many kids. I mean, I don't think a lot of these kids that are going to Division I schools, and I'll tell you what, we see transfers all the time. Our conference, there's always Division I kids moving down from Division I because they weren't happy, didn't get to play, and now they want to play. You see a lot of movement, but it's a shame because some of these kids, what the heck, make that decision right out of high school. I can go be a star, or I can maybe not even get the opportunity to play much. But they don't, come out of high school, kids also don't really think they're going to sit on a bench.
Yeah, I mean,
they think they're going to play.
Well, you can speak that to volumes, is where your senior class or your juniors look down as the freshmen. And I usually say that the guys are unshaved. They don't even have to shave yet, and they're not really developed.
Right.
And by the time they leave, their voices are deeper than their coaches. And the ladies, I'm sure there's analogies that I'm not aware of at this point in time that the senior leadership look at them and go, "Dang, she's got a lot to learn." Was I like that, Coach? Oh yeah, you were worse. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, they come out of high school and they're thinking they're all that, and when they wake up and realize that Little Miss Sunshine has a lot to learn about the game at a college level. I mean, wrestlers in high school go to college, and it's night and day, football, basketball. And little Johnny thinks he's all that. When he gets to college, it's not. When they come out of a football program, they go to the bigger teams, and they realize that they're not a superstar. They're not as good. And that's where I think the foundation of teamwork and playing for a team and being part of a team will help lead those kids. Because how many kids have you seen over the years come in and have enormous talent, but they're not willing to work because they never had to work before?
Oh, several. And some of them get it. It might take them a season or two. Some of them get it, figure it out, and figure out, okay, I better work now. And some of them never get it. Some of them just aren't going to do it. They don't want to. They're lazy, whatever, and they remain the same way.
Yeah.
And some of them at our level, depending on what's, some of them can still manage to play at this level, even though they don't have the work ethic they should have, because they may have superior talent to somebody, but they're never going to be the player they could be. And yes, it does happen. You see it a lot. A lot.
Oh, I mean, you hear about the underlining on there is that it takes. I mean, when you're back in the days playing, there was nothing more important to you than playing. Am I correct?
Oh, definitely.
Every waking moment, you probably had a basketball in your hand, and you're out shooting, or you were trying to figure out, okay, I got to get an A in this class to bring my grade up. I've got to make sure this is right. I'm this big. I mean, go through that process with us a little bit.
Which,
as far as what back in the day when you were playing and your mentality, how did you do that, and then incorporate it into what you do as far as a coach now?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I wasn't sure what you were asking me.
That's okay. I do that a lot. So
I think I got it. When, there probably isn't a coach alive who, as they were, playing, wasn't. We're all kind of the same. We're cut from the same cloth, I'd say. So my experience probably isn't a whole lot different from most people who coach. Obviously, we were very in tune to what was going on with our game. I mean, we played all the time. You absolutely loved it. Gym rat is probably the best description for what most coaches were. We were gym rats growing up. I was always in a gym, I always had a ball, shooting, I was at the park, wherever. That was my focus, all through high school and even in college, that's your focus. School, we'd like to say school comes first, but probably for us, I don't know. I mean, basketball probably was the most important thing for us.